Hi, let's talk about foam, specifically foam tyre inserts, which do two things. Firstly, they protect you from pinch flats by going inside your tubeless tyre and putting a load of padding between it and your rim. Secondly, they give that tyre lateral support, helping out in corners. As you can see, this stack of them is quite well used, and that's because they've spent the last 18 months or so inside the tyres of various bikes I've been riding. So, taking them in order. Huck Norris, the original foam tyre insert. It's a bit thinner than the rest, and unlike them, sits roughly halfway between your rim and the tread of your tyre. Despite its thinness, I found that this gave a surprising amount of protection, even running it in the back wheel of a hardtail. It does, however, split quite easily on impact, meaning that you will have to replace this sooner than most inserts. Next up, Rockstop by Eurofoam, a company up in Cumbria. This is a different material to most of the inserts in this test. It's actually a polymer with a smooth surface that sheds sealant very well. The large holes also give it plenty of space for sealant to slosh around. And I found it's the easiest to fit of all of the inserts in this group test. It also gave a surprisingly high amount of protection, taking a massive ding off a water bar and only leaving that little slit. Rimpact, also UK made. It's very lightweight, easy enough to fit, but its low density does mean that, like the Huck Norris, it splits quite easily. This and CushCore also have the best valves in this test, and Rimpact have lots of options for all sorts of bikes. Procore, one of the originals. Rather than foam, this actually runs off a plastic outer tyre with a kind of inner tube and air guide inside it. Now, nothing locks beads down as well as this, but this is an inner tube, so it will lose air. If you don't maintain it, you'll end up just with no actual protection and dinging rims again. I've also found over time that these two-stage valves can get quite sticky and are maybe a bit fiddly. So if you want something to just put in your rim and forget, this might not be it. If you want something very tunable and reliable, this might be the one. Vittoria's Air-Liner, available in 4 different sizes. We have 2, this one, which has been running in 2.3, 2.4 tyres, and one for plus tyres that's much bigger. This, I found, gave the most protection out of anything. It's taken so much punishment, and more than a year since I ran it, is still taking it. It seems to be utterly indestructible. Nukeproof ARD is one of the better value foam inserts in this test. These wings seem to do a decent job locking the tyre down and giving some bead support, and I didn't manage to put any holes in these at all. Flat tyre defender, excuse me. Again, a slightly different material. It's a sort of foam rubber. It also comes front and rear specific inserts. So the rear one is a lot heavier, the front one is lighter. I was skeptical of this. It's so small and soft, and yet it was undamaged despite some massive rim-ringing dings, and there are just no slits in it. It just kept on rolling and seemed to protect the tyres really well. Of all the inserts in the group test, I found this the most difficult to fit. CushCore. Now this is designed primarily with the purpose of locking your tyre beads down and giving tyre support with this special profile it has. Rim protection is kind of secondary, and they've really moved to stress this in all of their communications, that it's primarily a tyre suspension tuning product or something. Accordingly, in the test I did, I found that it didn't give much tyre protection, despite being relatively heavy. The actual profile it has above the tyre bead and the rim wall is quite thin, so if you hit it really hard, you will get a slit through, and I managed to smash a wheel through this. However, save for Procore locking beads down more solidly, there is nothing else in this group test that gives tyre support quite like this shape. Pepi's Tyre Noodle is one of the lightest inserts in the test, and as a commenter has observed, it's very similar to some sort of lightweight motocross tyre mousse. It is quite soft, it seems fairly effective. The day after I published the review of this, I did manage to ding a rim, but that ding was tiny. Finally, Panzer. It's quite similar to Rimpact, but with a point on the profile instead of a flat surface. Again, I found this quite easy to fit, though me and several other testers have found this one tends to suffer a bit with swelling, meaning if you pull it out of a tyre, leave it to air, you may not be able to get it back in there immediately. Another tester, though I haven't found this, found the same with Nukeproof ARD. With all of these foam inserts, one thing you can do that's perfectly safe is just cut them, cut a little bit out if you need it to be shrunk down to fit in your wheel again, and then zip tie it through. In fact, the Air-Liner actually comes like that. You're meant to just punch holes in it and zip tie it. Most foams will let you do that and keep rolling. So there you go, 10 tyre inserts, tested, abused and reviewed. Don't forget to follow the link to the Singletrack website, where you can find a couple of group test articles summarising everything I've found with them, as well as links to in-depth reviews of each one. Thanks for watching.